You're not lost, but you do need to find yourself. Hey guys, it's Crystal Fry, your personal identity coach. And tonight, last night we had such a great show on Friday Night Live, and I was really talking about being done, right? Enough of the foolishness. I'm done. I came on, I really poured my heart out and talked about a lot of different things that I wanted you to be done with, and had a really great response, right? Had really great engagement, and it really seemed to resonate, got a lot of good feedback on that. And today I posted something really about who you are, finding yourself, that kind of thing. And you guys all know, if you followed me for any length of time, that's what I do, right? I'm a personal identity coach. I help women find themselves. Okay. And part of that post said something about, you're not lost, right? The real you is there. It's buried underneath a lot of things. And that really got me thinking. And I thought, you know what? Yeah. So tonight, let's do round two. Okay. Tonight, let's do round two. And let's talk about the fact that you're not lost, but you do need to find yourself. What do I mean by that? All right. So how do you feel lost, right? When you've lost your way, when you don't know who you are, when you're frustrated, you're confused, and you don't really understand what to do next. Understand that yourself, your identity, you're not lost because it's you, right? How do you lose yourself when you really think about that? But you do need to find yourself, because guess what? It's highly likely, if you are feeling stuck, if you are feeling lost, that you have buried your true self underneath a whole host of other things. So I want to invite you to go ahead and share this out, start a watch party, tag someone, because again, this is something that is really, really a problem for a lot of people. It was a problem for me for a long time, because guess what? I felt lost. I felt stuck. I didn't know what to do next, because I had defined myself by all these roles. I was in this place where I just didn't understand who I was. I didn't know who I was. Again, I wasn't lost, but I really needed to find myself. And so maybe you're in that place right now. Maybe you are in that place where you are struggling and you've lost sight of who you really are because of everything else that's going on around you. Maybe you've gotten really super involved in your career. Maybe you've gotten really super involved in your family. Maybe you've gotten really super involved in a whole lot of things that aren't serving you very well. And maybe you've lost sight of who you really are. So what do you do about that? What do you do about that? Let's first, before we talk about what you do about that, I want to talk to you about the importance of really knowing who you are, of really finding your identity, of really knowing who you are deep down and standing in that firmly, and not allowing anyone else to question, not allowing anyone else to shake your foundation about who you are. Why is that important? Well, let's take, for example, when you don't know who you are, when you have lost sight of that, when you have lost touch with who you are as an individual, you make bad choices. You make choices that are not in your best interest. And they may not even necessarily be awful choices, I don't know, drinking, a 6-pack before noon. That's probably not the best idea. But what I'm saying is, you make choices that are not in your best interest. You make choices that are in the best interest of other people. And like I said last night, it's not that you stop serving people. It's not that you stop loving people. It's not that you stop, you stop all these things and you become this ridiculously self-centered individual. But when you've lost sight of who you are, you stop prioritizing you in your own life, because everything else is more important. And ladies and gentlemen, other things are important. Yes, they are. But I'm going to remind you again that what you're living right now, it's the only life you get. It's the only shot you have. How are you going to live it? Are you going to live it totally and completely to somebody else's standards, to somebody else's expectations, completely absorbed with other people's opinions? Or are you going to, first and foremost, find yourself, stand in your sacred ground, and serve others accordingly? Serve others out of who you are, not who they want you to be. or who they think you should be, or who you think they think you should be. That was a huge problem for me. I was so consumed with other people's opinions. Oh, guys, let me tell you. Hey, my friend Rashonda Pratt, it's so good to see you. I was so consumed with other people's opinions that I didn't have an opinion anymore. I lost my voice. I lost my own opinion about my own life, my own opinion of my own life. Rashonda, thank you so much for sharing it. And what does that do? What does that do? That creates a shell of who you are. It's an empty shell. Sad, but true. You know, last night I talked about being the Barbie doll in the box on the shelf. Yeah, that's what it does. Because when you lose your identity, when you lose sight of who you are, when you're not grasping and fully standing in your value and your worth, you oftentimes become a doormat for other people because you've not set healthy boundaries. It's hard to set boundaries if you don't know who you are. It's hard to determine what it is that you want if you don't know who you are. It's hard to know who you are if you've let all of the other opinions fill that space for you. Instead of sitting down and understanding, is this a good choice for me? Does this serve me? Is this something that is going to bring me joy and happiness while I am doing it and fulfilling it? Is it? And again, I'm going to stress, we're not talking about being selfish in a narcissistic, like I'm the only thing that's important kind of way. But let me tell you something. When you put you first, when you prioritize you in your life, what happens from that is an abundance that can flow out to other people. You know, we've all heard that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. It's true. It's true. If you are not filling yourself, if you are not pouring into yourself, if you do not know who you are, if you are not standing firm in your value, you will allow things to happen. You will no longer be the driver of your decisions. You will allow things to happen around you and to you and through you. And that's not living your life. That's existing through your time here on this earth. And I don't know about you, my friends, but I don't want to exist. I don't want to just simply exist. I want to live my life. I don't simply want to survive this year or this month or this day or my lifetime. I want to thrive in it every single moment of it. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to have down days. I also shared with you guys yesterday that, look, I'd had enough and I needed to take a break. That's fine. That's good. You need that. You need a break from things. You need an opportunity to rest and reset and refresh. But in that, knowing who you are, you know that you need that. You don't allow other people to pull that time away from you that you need for yourself. So here we go again with this, I feel lost. What do I do? What happens when you feel lost and you feel like you've lost your identity? How do you get that back? Well, sometimes it just takes a moment of being able to sit down, be still, reflect, understand, take stock, take inventory of what's going on. And when you already know who you are, right? When you're firm and you're secure in your own identity and things maybe have just gotten a little overwhelming, usually that's all it takes. Usually all it takes is a break, because we need that, okay? Especially if you are not a person who does regular meditation or a regular practice where you get quiet and you are still, you reach a point where you just need a break. So there's tip one. Go ahead and make that part of your normal routine, is having that rest for you to be quiet and be still and listen and hear. But if you are someone who is in that place where you really don't know who you are, you really have lost sight of the person that you are on the inside without all the other things. Again, remember, last night I talked about you is who you are when you strip all of your roles and your titles away from you. That's who you are. You are the person that's left when everything else goes away. If you don't know who you are after you take all of those other things away, then it's time to get some help. If you're stuck and you're frustrated because you can't figure it out on your own, because you've tried and failed and it's not working, doing it all by yourself and trying to figure it out all by yourself, you need to get some help. Now, depending on where you are, sometimes that means you need to go get professional help. There's nothing wrong with getting therapy, okay? Absolutely nothing wrong. If you are going to go look for a therapist, make sure your therapist has a therapist, okay? Because everybody needs someone to talk to. And I believe that we could all benefit from therapy anyway. So, but if you're not in that place where it's that you need, maybe you just need someone to help light the path for you, to help light the way for you, then you can find someone like yours truly. Again, as a personal identity coach, that is exactly what I do. I help you reconnect and find your identity as an individual, not as a mom, not as a wife, not as an employee, not as a business owner, not as whatever it is, not as an author or a speaker or any of those things. Those are your titles. Those are the roles that you play in your life. Those are important because they are a part of you, but they are not you. I help you rediscover who you are apart from all of those things. So if that's where you are, then again, the information to get on my calendar for a 30-minute strategy session is right here down at the bottom. It's bit.ly/see-me30. It's a 30-minute conversation, doesn't cost you a thing, but it helps us talk about where you are right now, where you want to go, and then how do we get you there? So again, tonight, seriously, you're not lost, but maybe you do need to find yourself. And if that's where you are, I highly encourage you to drop me a note. Again, doesn't cost you a thing. It's just a phone conversation. And I really, again, this has been on my heart so much these past 2 weeks about the number of people. You guys, the numbers that I have been seeing in my head that have been dropped into my, that have come to me through intuition, that have been dropped into my subconscious, that have been little whispers in my ear about the number of people. And the number is steady growing every day of people who are walking around, especially on social media. And listen, if I'm hurting your feelings, if I'm stepping on your toes, sorry, not sorry. But let me tell you what, if I am stepping on your toes with this stuff, it's probably it's really because what's happening is it's tugging at something inside you. When we see things that stir emotions up in us, when we hear people talking or we watch videos or anything like that, and it's stirring up emotions in us, take heart on that because it's pulling up something that you need to deal with. And if I'm that catalyst for you, if I am sitting here telling you that you're not lost, but you do need to find yourself, or like last night when I was telling you the things that I wanted you to be done with, pretending, letting everybody else run your life, putting everybody else in front of you, not knowing who you are, being something that you're not, if that's pulling at you, then maybe it's time for us to have that conversation together to figure that out, to determine what it is that you're stuck on and how we can get you unstuck so that you can walk fully. And that is so important to me, that you can show up every single day of your one and only life as the biggest, boldest, fullest version of you, because that's what we need. That is what we need in this world. We need you. We don't need your pretender. We don't need your faker. We don't need your Facebook faker. Or as my good friend and coach Rashonda Pratt says, the Facebook fakers and the Periscope phonies. We don't need that. We don't need the fake. We don't need the mask. We don't need the 17 tons of makeup, right? We don't need that. We don't need to see the picture that you are projecting because you want everyone to like you. Because you want everyone, hey, Lady May, thank you for being here. Because you want everyone to accept you. Listen, from the bottom of my heart, I'm going to say this. I said it last night. I'm going to say it again. If people like the fake you that you are putting out there, if they like your pretender, they don't really like you. Because what you're putting out there is not the real you. If you are faking, if you are putting on a facade, if you are putting on a front, if you are presenting to the world something that is completely different than what is in your heart so that you can be accepted, my friends, first of all, you're trying to get into the wrong tribe, okay? Because the people who want to see you and who want to be there with you, those people accept you and love you and enjoy you, the real you, not the one that you want, to put out there because you think, oh, I'll fit in better if I do this. Oh, if I only show all of the good stuff on my social media timeline, then people will think that my life is perfect. You guys, nobody's life is perfect. Come on. Nobody's life is perfect. We all have difficulties. We all have struggles. That doesn't mean that you need to pour out all of your mess on Facebook. But what it does mean is that you need to show up as yourself. Show up as you. And again, if you don't know who you are, if you've lost sight of that, if the real you is indeed buried down deep beneath a whole bunch of stuff that's been piled up on top, trust me, I can walk through the journey with you. I've already been there. It's not fun. It's not a fun place to wake up every day and realize that you have really lost sight of the person that you are. And a lot of times when you reach that point, you don't like who that person is. I didn't like who that person was. You know why? Because it wasn't me. It wasn't me. And I wanted to be me, just me. Because when I'm me, guess what? One, I'm really not that concerned what other people think, okay? It may cross my mind every once in a while, depending on who the person is. But honestly, I just want to show up as myself because that's where I'm comfortable. That's how I feel like I am giving my best out to the world, to other people, is when I show up as myself, not when I show up as the person that everybody thinks I should be, okay? So just know that. Just know that the world wants you. We want you. We don't want the facade. We don't want the fake. We don't want the mask. We want to see you because you are what the world needs. Again, like I said last night, you are the only you that there is. You are the only you that there will ever be. God doesn't make duplicates. Even twins, right? Even identical twins have differences. God doesn't make duplicates. He doesn't make copies. There doesn't need to be another anyone. You know why? Because we are all incredibly individual and unique, and we all have our own very special light to add to the world. So stop trying to cover yours up by being something you're not. Stop trying to hide in the shadows when you were created to shine bright. Stop trying to hide behind what you think people want you to be. Just be you. Just be you. All right, my friends, I am going to close for tonight. Thank you all for joining me. For those of you who are joining live, if you haven't had a chance, if you weren't with me at the beginning, go back and watch from the beginning. Again, from the bottom of my heart, I love you for you. So show up as you. And I got to tell you, it's one of the most liberating and freeing feelings in the world when you can just be yourself. So I hope you all have a great night, and I will see you all again very soon. This is Crystal Fry, your personal identity coach, supporting women in life and business to find their identity, love the woman that they are, and transform their lives into legacies. See you next time.